Hi coloring besties! Welcome back to another video. I don't know about you, but I like to keep my books in the best possible condition. So I thought today we could talk about protecting our books, covering them, keeping them protected from scratches, and how to do that with the different type of books that you get. In today's video, we'll be covering a normal A4 book as well as a collector's edition book. These are slightly bigger than the A4, so you can't use the normal A4 covers. We also have this size book. I'd say it's not necessarily an A5, so it's in between A5 and A4, slightly longer length. As you can see, this smaller size book is already covered, and I'm going to be using the same method that I applied to this book for the collector's edition book. So it's basically just a roll of plastic as we used to use for our school textbooks to keep them protected through the year and, you know, help with the wear and tear and keep that tarnishing down. Let's talk about the supplies you'd need to cover these books. So for your normal A4 size books, I normally get these adjustable covers. They can be quite fitting on the books, so I normally cut off the flap at the back, but I'll show you that shortly. I use sellotape to secure the edges at the back. This is quite a nice dispenser. It already pre-cuts the tape for you, so that is such a lifesaver. And then for the books that are not standard A4 size, this is what the plastic roll looks like. Then I cut it to size and I use the sellotape to secure the edges at the back. These do come in packs of 10, so I would just use one for this video, and then I'd pack the other 9 back in the packet. As I mentioned earlier, this applies to the standard A4 size books. So these covers are adjustable. You can see they come with these flaps at the back. So now this is the part that I find is quite tight on the book. So I just cut these off, just using a normal scissor. So I would cut it along the edge of You can throw away this piece of plastic, you won't need to use it for anything. Once you've cut that flap off at the back and you open your cover, you would just have the flap on the one side, and then on this side you've got the self-adhesive to stick down at the back. So I use this as well as a sellotape just to secure it. So I open this and lay it flat. Like I mentioned earlier, you'll see that this is quite a snug fit. So we put the corners in.
3 hours later.
There we go. So one last push on the spine and you'll see your book is in the cover. So then we're just left with this side. So in order to get the flap correct, I normally do it with the book closed so that I know how much it needs. So I would slightly open it and then just measure by folding over. So this cover does have like guidelines on the side here, so I can see it's pretty much in line with the second line. So I'm happy then to peel off the self-adhesive. Those can be a bit static, so just watch that they don't land on your face. Then we fold it over and it will stick. So I can already see that it's straight here and then it's slightly off centered there. So I'll just lift it on this side. I'll just tighten it and then readjust. Put some pressure and there we go. So then your last thing that you need to do is just use the tape to stick it down and secure it. So as I mentioned earlier, this already has pre-cut pieces, so we don't need to worry about that. As you turn this mechanism, it cuts your tape for you. So then I would just apply 2 pieces. 1. 2. And then that's your book covered. And it looks so pretty. Keep it in a good condition. For the books that don't use the standard A4 size covers, we've got our roll. So I normally lay this down first, and then I place the book on top of it to gauge the correct size that we would need. So I leave about, I'd say, 3 to 4 centimeters on each side. So I'll measure it closed. Once you know the amount that you need to cover the book, you can cut along the fold line that is naturally created by the roll around the cardboard roll. This does help to get the line quite straight when you cut it. So you can use that as a guideline. If you've got a sharp enough scissors, it also makes it quite easy to cut. The next thing to do would be the same process, but for the gap at the top and the bottom. So for that, kind of just measure by eye and keep the gap to about, your 3 to 4 centimeters, so that it kind of looks seamless right around the edge of the book. So what I normally do is I will then get my measurements at the one end, and then I would just cut at the top of the other end. So I'll fold the plastic, use my nail just to create like a sort of indent or guideline for cutting, and then we follow the same process as we did earlier. Once you have your plastic cut to size, that I would say is the most difficult part sorted. So I like to start at the back of the book. Let's turn it sideways. Okay, so what we do then is we try and get like some sort of center point. Make sure the top has enough grip to cover the other side. Get your tape, and then here you make sure that the cover is secured quite tightly around the book. Obviously you can't fold this over here, so you would need to make provision for the play that folds over. So what I normally do is I cut at a 45-degree angle on each side. So it would look like that. And then to get this part correct, you'd have to hold the book up. And we'll use that as a stand to keep it up. The next thing to do would be to fold this into a triangle. We then secure triangle down. Cut a bit more tape. Fold this flap over. Stick down that section. And then we stick down this section here. And you've got a perfect edge there. So then you'd cut the angle the same on this side, and you would just cut it along the spine so that there's no extra flap over here. So I'm going to proceed doing that on all 4 corners. So when you do the other side, it would be best to keep the book closed as we did with the previous cover, just so that you can get the correct amount of, so that it's tight enough but not too tight that the book can't close. So as you can see, I've cut it a bit skew here, so I'm just going to straighten it. So then here's where you would cut it against the spine, so that you've got no plastic flap over there. Okay. Then once again, I normally do this, making sure that I've got the correct amount of slack here, so that it doesn't pop open when you close it. You might also find some of your Fur Babies glitter sticking to these covers, as they are quite static, so that's what I'm doing. If you see me rubbing the plastic, is just cleaning some of that off. And there you have it. So the last test before I cut that part by the spine will just be to close it, and I'm quite happy with that. So then we just cut around the spine. And there you have it. You've got your not A4 size book covered, as well as the A4 size. And now they're both protected. These books will also, because the covers are quite tight, they will take a while to just straighten themselves out. So now that our books are covered, we can actually get on to the exciting part of coloring. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this type of video, and also I'd love to hear your methods for covering your books and keeping them protected. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye!